Hey guys, my name is Adam, and today I have another Rome Total War multiplayer battle replay to show you. This is a Scythia versus Seleucids matchup. Scythia is a faction that is very underused online. I'd say that Scythia is probably the least used faction on Rome because a lot of people don't understand how to play it correctly. So I figured I would put out this video. I am no Scythia master, but I know the basics. I ended up going against a lot of opponents back in the day that taught me a lot about how Scythia is actually meant to be played. And that is very much so as a harassment type faction. And at the end of the day, you're probably going to need to charge all of your harassing units into a big melee fight. And I figured I would show you this video because it is a little bit different than the norm, and I'm versing a Seleucid opponent, which is of course phalanx based, so I figured I would show you exactly what to do against opponents like this. So, taking a look at my build, I have 4 sets of Chosen Archer Warband with silver upgrades on each of them. When you're playing as a faction like Scythia or any barbarian faction, archers, they're always a good idea, for the most part, unless you're versing a faction like Rome, where your harassment will mean very little. It's very difficult for a Scythian faction to beat a Roman faction. It's very, very difficult. I'll try to get a match in the future that shows that it can be done, but it is quite difficult to actually pull off because your harassment means literally nothing to their Roman shields. Anyway, behind these Chosen Archer Warbands, I have 5 sets, or actually, is this 4? Yeah, it's 4 sets of Axemen. And I put gold upgrades on these guys, which means pretty much jack shit, because they will rout quickly. It's very difficult to stop a barbarian faction, Scythia in particular, from routing a lot, because their morale is pretty much garbage. This is actually the only melee ground unit that you can get with Scythia. But I needed something that would hold the Seleucid line long enough for me to do my damage. So on each of my flanks, I have 2 sets of Headhunting Maidens, that makes 4 in total, and they have silver upgrades each. Then I have 2 sets of Scythian Noble Archers, 1 on each flank, and I put some upgrades on them as well. I believe it is silver bronze, or maybe just gold attack. I don't quite remember, but something along those lines. I wanted to make sure that these guys could do a decent amount of harassment to the enemy phalanx, because that was really going to be the huge problem that I faced the whole game. Also, because I'm versing the Seleucids, I highly expected that cataphracts would show up. And I'll talk more in depth about the Scythia versus Seleucid tactic when it comes to cataphracts in future videos, but just know that Headhunting Maidens dominate cataphracts because they have a huge bonus versus armored units. Sadly, my opponent will have something very different, and I was not expecting it. I really was not. But I also have my general in the Barbarian Chosen Warlord unit. He's at the back of my army. Once again, when you're playing with a barbarian faction, you want to make sure that your general will always be safe. You want to give him as much mobility as possible, which is why I put him in a cavalry unit. If your general dies, if he routs, then you're in a lot of trouble. Pretty much no matter who you are. If you're Seleucids, if you're Rome, if your general dies, you're going to face a lot of morale shock. So try to avoid that. My opponent, which is Louis D97, or however it is pronounced, he ended up bringing 2 sets of Militia Hoplites, and these guys are probably going to be for meat shield purposes, and you'll see exactly how that works out. Then he has 3 sets of Silver Shield Pikemen with gold upgrades, which is decent. Personally, I would have opted for more of these guys, especially versus a faction like Scythia. Then he brought 4 sets of Silver Shield Legionnaires and 4 sets of Companion Cavalry. Yep, so that is his build. His general is in one of the Companion Cavalry units, and this is where I was pretty surprised. As soon as his army popped up on my screen, I was really surprised he didn't bring cataphracts, because most Seleucid players will do that. You'll notice that I'm instantly starting harassment from each flank. I have this unit of Missile Cavalry targeting his general, because he's left him here so nicely to be shot at. I'm only going to get a couple of them, though, because they are heavy cavalry. They have really good armor stats, and he's going to move them here in just a moment, so I don't get too many good shots on him. But this other unit over here is actually having a lot better luck, and I'm getting some nice outflank shots on this Silver Shield Pikeman unit. I think that from the beginning I should use both of these Scythian Noble Archers to target down the infantry, because that's going to be the main problem in this game. I have cavalry that can deal with his, but when it comes to the infantry, I am sorely lacking. You'll also notice that I'm moving my Headhunting Maidens to each flank. They are light cavalry, but they can do quite a number on these heavy cavalry units, especially if they get the proper charge in. So it's always something to keep in mind. Anyways, he is now getting in range of my Chosen Archer warbands, and I'm just dealing tons of damage. You'll notice that these militia hoplites are getting absolutely destroyed, and I decided to turn on fire arrows, not because it would do more damage, but because of the morale penalties that he would be facing now. And I think that was a good choice in the long run. I wanted to get these guys to rout before they even got to my line, and I don't know if I really managed it. I don't think I do, but it was certainly a good effort. Also, you'll notice that I am now going to charge my Headhunting Maidens right into the flanks. Each flank is now being exploited here. He does not actually notice this, so I'm going to get the charge in. He's going to respond shortly afterwards, but I do get that lovely charge that's going to cause a lot of damage. Now he's responding, but I already got the charge that I wanted, and he is in a lot of trouble. His general's over here. He's now helping in the fight. Very dangerous for his general to be here at this moment. It's very dangerous indeed, because if his general dies, he's going to face a lot of morale penalties. There, my Headhunting Maidens rout, but I've already done what I wanted to do. You'll notice that I have a lot of my cavalry still routing. This is the last Headhunting Maiden left, and look at that. There goes the general. So, Headhunting Maidens have really bad morale, but they do cause substantial damage to enemy cavalry. That is something that a lot of people tend to forget. Meanwhile, this whole time, I have my Scythian Noble Archers harassing any unit I can, mostly the infantry here. I'm charging into melee now. You'll notice that the Axemen are now fighting head-to-head with Silver Shield Pikemen and instant rout. Keep in mind that I did activate Warcry. It doesn't matter with Scythia. Scythia is very much so a barbarian faction. They're not going to do well under pressure like this. I will charge in once again here in a moment. I'm using my fire arrows to lower their morale. His cavalry is all the way in the back. He's not really doing anything with them. So I decided to use my barbarian chosen warlord to do some hammer and anvil strikes, which works very well. It instantly routes that Silver Shield Pikeman unit. Because he does not have support close enough, he's now going to charge the remainder of his cavalry in, and I decide to completely encompass them with my axemen. I'm ignoring the infantry for the time being. The only problem right now is that these Silver Shield Legionnaires are getting their pillow throws in, which is causing a lot of damage. But my fire arrows are still just going insane, and they're causing a lot of morale damage to my opponent, and I really think that's why my general charge from the back actually did as much damage as it did. Now, there's only one Silver Shield Pikeman unit left on the front line, but a lot of them are coming back at this point. The Silver Shield Legionnaires have now engaged. We're facing a lot of morale penalties on both sides, really. And there goes a Silver Shield Legionnaire unit. Every advantage I get, I am taking gladly, because, quite frankly, he does have a nice concave on me, for the most part. He has the Silver Shield Pikemen on my flank. I'm trying to outflank charge them with these Headhunting Maidens that actually came back from routing, but will that be enough? I don't know. So I charge in my Chosen Archer Warband into melee, and that's actually going to cause the Silver Shield Pikemen to rout. Then he's bringing in all these Silver Shield Legionnaires, and I am causing as much morale damage as I can. I'm completely surrounding them, but keep in mind the Silver Shield Legionnaires are very, very tough. They have gold upgrades from what I can remember, and it's just going to be a tough fight for me to win. He also has a lot of units coming back to the field, and this is actually a problem that I face a lot with Scythia. What I should have been doing was having my Scythian Noble Archers, my Missile Cavalry, chase down all these routing units, make sure they can't come back. That way they can't contribute to the fight anymore, because, I mean, if you look, this is a lot of units that have come back to the fight. And also you'll notice that I still have Axemen routing. I have a lot of problems going on. This whole time, I keep shooting fire arrows into this mix. I'm trying to lower their morale as best as possible. I also have my general constantly using Rally, trying to keep my men's morale up. And it works decently, but it's definitely a dangerous situation. Also, I've been doing a lot of hammer and anvil strikes with my general, and if he ends up dying, I'm in a lot of trouble. I will pretty much face an instant mash rout, so I can't afford that. There goes another Chosen Archer Warband unit. I have two more back here. I didn't want to charge all of them in because I was getting a lot of morale benefits from shooting the fire arrows into the group. You'll also notice that the pill is being thrown. Luckily, it's at that Chosen Archer Warband that actually routed. I'm charging into this group with my general. This was very risky. Very risky, but it did give me the opportunity to break up their lines a little bit, give my men the opportunity to finish up that concave, but he has a lot of men now, so I'm charging in with my Chosen Archer Warbands because it's pretty much even in terms of the amount of men in this fight. So in a straight-up fight, Scythia will not win against these Silver Shield Legionnaires, so I need to do something quick. I am now charging my Scythian Noble Archers over here into the fight. I have my general doing a rear charge, which will do quite a bit of damage, but now my general unit is at 7 men, so I need to be very careful. I can't have my general die, but I needed that charge. Also, in come the Scythian Noble Archers, and they have done it. Mass rout by my opponent, and that is actually the end. Very close game. I really wanted to show you this one. I actually just played it, and Scythia is a faction that is so difficult to master. But honestly, it can be one of the best factions in the game. I've been proven that many times. I played as Rome and lost to a Scythian opponent who was just really good. Clan tryouts, the guys who play Scythia really well dominate in clans. And there's a good reason why. Their harassment is top tier. It really is. Anyway, I actually got a clear victory there. I ended up killing 931 men for the 997 that I deployed. He only killed 567 of my men, but you notice how close that game was. I was having a lot of morale problems, and he didn't really have much to even hurt my morale. If he brought a bunch of archers who were just shooting fire arrows at my group, that would have been very bad. Very bad. But anyway, good game to my Seleucid opponent, Louis D97. Lewis, maybe? I don't know, but taking a look at the battle statistics screen, you'll notice that my Scythian noble archers got the most kills by far, which is very good. That's a strong lineup there. Scythian noble archers are some of the best missile cavalry in the game, and you need to make sure you get proper harassment done with them in order for them to be worth their money. Also, you'll notice that I got the Scythian noble archers and experience there. They did a lot of killing. Very impressive. Also, my general even got an experience. He was doing tons of hammer and anvils. He was making sure their morale was never very high. The hammer and anvil strikes do a ton of morale. Not only that, though, I had my chosen archer warbands keep blasting them with arrows, and a lot of them got 70+ kills. So, it's very important to use your harassment effectively. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you thought down in the comments section, and I will see you later.